They're known as Caesar's photographs, named after a military defector who documented torture and killings in Syrian government jails. His testimonies to the U.S. Congress was part of a campaign to hold the regime responsible for what have been described as war crimes. It led to the passing and now the implementation of a bill in the U.S., the so-called Caesar Act.
Any country in the world, if there's a company, individual, entity that's providing technology, financial support, military support to the Assad regime, are all liable for sanctions under the Caesar bill.
These sanctions go further than existing ones. They're aimed at preventing international engagement with Bashar al-Assad's government. Partnering or fighting on its side will also be punishable. The Syrian government calls the legislation economic terrorism, but proponents of the law point to exemptions that minimize any impact on civilians.
The Syrian government is allowed to buy medicines if they want, but they don't want to spend the foreign currency on that. They want to fund their war machine. They want to fund the militias.
Human rights groups have accused the Syrian government of using aid to fund its atrocities, benefit those loyal to it, and punish opponents by confiscating their properties. Plans to move to a post-war phase in Syria will now be difficult.
This law is different, it's more comprehensive. So you'll have basically a halt on all the official reconstruction in Syria moving forward. And this will definitely have an impact on the regime.
It's already faced with a collapsing economy and currency. There is unprecedented poverty. Some say Assad hasn't been this vulnerable at any time during the 9-year war.
It kind of shuts the door fully closed in terms of there being any light at the end of the tunnel for the Syrian regime. So I think politically and diplomatically that will have an impact. But it adds on to the already terrible effect of the Syrian economic crisis.
Assad has faced pressure in the past but has never agreed to making political concessions. He's since declared victory in the war in Syria, and while he may have won militarily, winning the peace may prove harder. The new legislation means the fight for Damascus as the seat of Assad's power and legitimacy has still to be fought. Zeina, Khodr, Al Jazeera, Beirut.